everybody. So, I'm gonna read New Moon for your entertainment because Alex decided not to read the other three books because he hated Twilight so much. This one kid, Steven, did like 6 chapters, I think. Yeah, 6 chapters. So, you should check him out for the first 6 chapters of the book because I'm gonna start chapter 7. I'm gonna give you a recap so far what's happened. We're at 159 pages in the book at chapter 7, and all that's happened is that Edward's gone. Bella fell into a depression, which isn't so far from how she is normally. I'm going to start reading chapter 7, which is called Repetition. And what's happening is she's driving to the Collins house in her truck to try to see if the house is there, I guess. And she's talking about the nothingness of her dreams and the nightmares that she's been having a lot. And apparently it was a good day at school. She's saying how she's going to their house because she wants to do something stupid and reckless, because if she does something stupid and reckless, that makes Edward appear. It says, I didn't want to admit the strangest motivation because it was mentally unsound. How does Bella Swan know what mentally sound is? She's not mentally sound. She doesn't do things that are mentally sound. But anyway, she goes up to the house, and the house is there, but the lawn hasn't been mowed in forever. And Edward's voice doesn't show up, and she doesn't look in the house. She's either scared that everything will be gone or everything will still be there. So she doesn't look. And then she decides that she's going to go back to her truck. So it says, I turned my back on the gaping emptiness and hurried to my truck. I nearly ran. I pushed my truck as fast as it would go as I barreled towards my fix. It doesn't ever say she gets inside her truck, so she runs to the truck and then she pushes the truck. So Bella Swan is pushing her truck as fast as it would go towards Jacob's house. So she gets to Jacob's house and they start working on the bikes. Well, Jacob starts working on the bikes. He's getting pretty close to finishing them. And they decide that they need to start having homework dates because they're falling behind on their homework and working on motorcycles instead. She comes home and Charlie's eating pizza. And she goes to school on Tuesday, and Angela and Mike are all, yay, you can come sit with us again. We love you. And Jess isn't. And then Mike's at work with her, and he's talking all up in her face. And then he asks her out on a date. I didn't want to screw things up with Mike, not when he was one of the only people ready to forgive me for being crazy. I'm not even ready to forgive her for being crazy, so I don't know how Mike is. She says, I don't date. I said slowly, realizing how true that was. That whole world seemed impossibly distant. Probably because no one except Mike wants to date you. No one wants to date Bella, because she's dull and boring and mopey. The next day, Bella cooked lasagna. Jacob goes home, and he says, oh, I'll call you tomorrow. Bella's cleaning the house, and she's waiting for Jacob to call and trying to shake off the latest nightmare. And the scenery changed. It says, last night I wandered in a wide sea of ferns interspersed with huge hemlock trees. Whose dreams are that descriptive? Nobody wakes up and says, oh, hey, Mom, guess what I dreamed about? A wide sea of ferns interspersed with huge hemlock trees. Like, I don't even know what a hemlock tree is. If I'm in a dream, a tree is a tree. Like, that, it's a little excessive. Charlie's outside washing the cruiser, and the phone rings, so Bella runs and gets it. And Jacob says, oh, come to my house, I finished the bikes. And then Bella says, what perfect timing. I needed something to distract me from nightmares and nothingness. Why don't you just turn on the TV? Or help Charlie wash the cruiser? Or scrub more toilets? Those are all perfect distractions from nothingness. So then, yay, Bella's all excited, and she runs off to go to Jake's house, and she gets there, and it says, when I got out, a splash of color caught my eye. 2 shiny motorcycles, one red, one black, were hidden under a spruce, invisible from the house. I've concluded that Bella Swan knows every kind of tree known to man. Every single one. Unlike most people who would be focusing on the motorcycles, she decides to focus on the trees instead. Because you know what? That's the kind of person Bella Swan is. And they're driving along the ocean to get to somewhere where they can ride the motorcycles without anybody noticing. And there's some people on the cliff, and they're jumping off. They're cliff diving. Bella freaks freaks out, and she screams that they need to call an ambulance, and she says, I threw open my door and started to get out, which made no sense at all. Because Bella always makes sense. The fastest way to a phone was to drive back to Billy's, but I couldn't believe what I'd just seen. Maybe, subconsciously, I hoped I would see something different without the glass of the windshield in the way. Like her windshield's playing tricks on her. Like, oh, just kidding, you didn't see someone jump off the cliff, that was just your windshield. My windshield plays tricks on me all the time. God, she's so dumb. So then Jacob explains how it's just cliff diving, and it's really fun, and you get an adrenaline rush from it, so Bella decides, oh, well, I need to go cliff diving, because then I can see Edward. With the door open, the glacial breeze was raising goosebumps on my arm. The glacial breeze? The glacial breeze. Really? I don't think people say, oh, hi, how was your walk? Oh, it was nice outside, but there was quite a glacial breeze. Really? Couldn't you just say the breeze, or the chilly breeze, or something like that? The glacial breeze? Bella asks who they were, and Jacob goes on and on and on about how they're the LaPush gang, headed by Sam, and they're like the protectors of the tribe, and things like that. He just keeps going on about the gang, and then Jacob's saying how his dad won't tell him anything. His dad knows something, but he just won't tell him anything. Bella, it says, I threw my arms around him instinctively, wrapping them around his waist and pressing my face against his chest. Oh, Jake, it'll be okay, I promised. That is so out of character for her. I mean, usually she's all, oh, I'm Bella, my life sucks, and I know trees. And now she's like, oh, Jake, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna figure something out. And that just, I think she's dumb. That's what I think. And then Jacob gets a little handsy with her while he's hugging her, and she pushes away. She's saying, no, we're just friends. And she says, it was strange for me being this close emotionally rather than physically, though the physical was strange for me too, to another human being. It wasn't my usual style. I didn't normally relate to people so easily on such a basic level. Not human beings. Because she only relates to non-human beings like turtles and bunnies. Sounds good. They decide that they're going to ride the bikes. And that's it. That's all that happens, is that they're going to ride the bikes. So, I'm going to give you a recap of the chapter. Bella goes to the Collins house, and the house is still there, and she pushes her truck. Mike asks her out on a date to go to the movies. Jacob finished the bikes. And they saw some guys cliff diving. Apparently only through Bella's windshield. And Jacob told Bella all about the LaPush gang and how annoying they are. That's really pretty much it. They're going to ride the motorcycles in the next chapter, I assume, which is called Adrenaline, so I hope they're riding motorcycles. And I'll read this when I get to it, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. Bye.